I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metric,
Realize I would rather not humiliate this young woman yet. She has more Grammys than everybody and always lost Collection of the Year. So even by your own measurements that doesn't work, contemplate that the most grams always lost a Collection of the Year that doesn't work. You know, some of you going to return home this evening and feel like you've been denied, some of you may it lose. So the 2024 Grammy grants traveled every which way, with all its typical publicity and dramatization bleh. Gabe on both old-fashioned and virtual entertainment long into the future, yet 1 second got everyone's attention, and makes certain to keep people talking in media circles. Jay-Z's tirade. You know Jay-Z never need to evade contention enough, but he dropped a few bombs that could genuinely stir up Beyonce's vocation and fix all her diligent efforts. So what did he say and what's the aftermath going to be? How about we make a plunge? The 66th Grammys were a breathtaking undertaking, with all the Rouse Nam catching honors for their executioner exhibitions over the course of the last year, yet Jay-Z alongside Dr. Dre and his little girl Blue Ivy got everyone's attention when they hit the stage to get an honor, while everybody anticipated that Jay should give the standard thank you discourse. Skippy had different plans leading. He raised how Might Smith and DJ Fun Jeff boycotted the Grammys back in '89 in light of the fact that they didn't broadcast the rap grants, rather they kicked back in their lodgings and watched the entire thing on television. It's perfect to have an honor for such how far we've accompanied. Will Smith and him Chazzy CHF and the new Sovereign winning their most memorable Grammy in '89 and boycotting on the grounds that it wasn't broadcast, and afterward they went to like an inn and watched the Grammys. I ain't even comprehend what the you picked the blacklist. Oh, we feel that it's an insult. We boycotted the 1989 Grammy show. Oh, we don't dislike the Grammy as an honor or the Grammy as an establishment. We just disapproved of the 1989 plan of the honor show. We feel that our music was sufficiently significant and is adequately significant to have been on this show. Then Jay-Z reminded us about his own blacklist in '98 on the grounds that DMX got censored despite the fact that he had 2 banging collections that year. And man, did Jay drop some reality bombs, yet he coated them with affection so they wouldn't hit excessively hard. It will be fascinating to perceive how this works out in the media bazaar. Jay-Z wasn't keeping down at the Grammys. He directly uptold the Recording Institute, the cerebrums behind the entire party, that they were coming up short with a portion of their candidates and victors. Essentially, he was calling them out for being one-sided or playing top choices as opposed to passing judgment on in view of legitimacy. As Jay continued to drop truth bombs, you could feel the strain in the room. Individuals were anxiously laughing. He wasn't done at this point. He got down on how they continually scorned his significant other Beyonce, particularly in the Collection of the Year classification. Right when you thought Jay was wrapping up, he hit us with all the more genuine talk. He told people they could feel like they got burglarized that evening, and some didn't actually have a place in their classes yet. Rather than simply grumbling, he urged everybody to continue to push for grants, as well as for their fans. He made it clear distrust. Guard the Grammys for a sec and spotlight on appearing and nurturing it your everything, until you gain the appreciation. And man, when he raised Beyonce's 32 Grammy wins, making her the most enlivened craftsman ever, the group went wild. It's like they were at long last seeing the sovereign get her due. Yet, how about we be genuinely? The Grammys have a rep for reprimanding craftsmen of variety, particularly in those large classifications. Some even believe there's a predisposition against dark craftsmen. Jay-Z's discourse gave trust that perhaps things could change, regardless of whether it implied calling out the very association that just gave him an honor. Discuss striking moves. Hopefully his words flash some genuinely necessary change in the music business. After Jay-Z's Grammy discourse, a few people were praising him excitedly for thinking about himself and his fam, as well as for supporting others as well. Yet, you know about the way things are, there were additionally critics out there calling him crude. They were like, for what reason is Jay-Z winning an honor when his significant other didn't? And they could go on and on about Blue Ivy scoring a prize only for being on her mother's track. Then there were those scrutinizing, assuming Beyonce truly merited each of the 32 of her Grammys. They resembled, come on. There are lots of other gifted peeps out there who got censored. A few people were scratching their heads, asking why Beyonce continues to pile up grants, yet Here's the curve, some stress. That Jay's call-out could misfire and damage Beyonce's vocation. They thought by dissing the Grammys perhaps Bey could get boycotted for future honors. Jay appeared to be apprehensive himself during the discourse, perhaps in light of the fact that he realized his words might have outcomes yet wet. Should not fail to remember the narrows hive Beyonce's really steadfast fan base. These peeps are ride or pass on, continuously safeguarding their sovereign. With fans like that, examiners don't think Beyonce once will endure a shot in her vocation at any point in the near future yet. Here's where it gets delicious. Beyonce won no honors that evening. A few fans think the Recording Foundation communicating something specific like hello, perhaps Bey's publicity is misrepresented. They're in any event conjecturing about plans to oust her as the R&B sovereign, and afterward, there's Taylor Quick catching collection of the year again. Fans are contrasting her with Beyonce, saying she's a superior lyricist and her it's make insane money. They even say her shows cause tremors like strict seismic activity. In the end, everything revolves around who's on top in the music world, and it appears as though Beyonce could have some contest warming up yet. Hello, who realizes the music games in every case brimming with shock. So, Taylor Quick had a stellar year, catching Time magazine's Individual of the Year title for her gigantic effect on the music scene. Her fans were building her up big time, saying her collection was loaded with hits that overwhelmed the graphs considerably more than Beyonce stuff. With this large number of wins, the Tattle mags and specialists were at that point wagering on Taylor to bring back home Collection of the Year at Grammys even before the chosen people were declared, and no doubt she had an extraordinary night at the honors, absorbing the spotlight. However, at that point, things got a bit off kilter when she went up to acknowledge her honor from, in all honesty, Celine Dion. As opposed to giving Celine some affection, Taylor just centered around the prize and grabbed it up without visually connecting. Of one fan composed the outright class and elegance of Celine Dion to remain there, grinning, trusting that Taylor will acknowledge the honor from her, while Taylor was deliberately disregarding her, and afterward to grin yet applaud her after Taylor took the Grammy without taking a gander at her. The Knoll look drive-by. In the event that I was Celine, I would have tossed it at her. It is what she merited. And one more fan told not even visually engage is a unique sort of uncouth. Celine chilled out, yet Taylor's move didn't agree with a ton of people. They figured she ought to have basically recognized Celine, like how Miley Cyrus did with Mariah, conveyed to them. It was somewhat discourteous for Taylor to dismiss a symbol like Celine, who's experienced a ton with her well-being fights. So turns out Taylor Quick didn't intend to get over Celine Dion at the Grammys. There's this picture ting around the web showing them embracing it out with Taylor, looking all cordial, yet a few fans weren't getting it, calling it a PR move to hide any hint of failure. In the meantime, jayz and Beyonce were chilling in the crowd, presumably watching the situation unfurl on the big screen, supposedly. While Taylor was lolling in her Grammy greatness, Jay and Bey were somewhere down in thought, contemplating the aftermath from Jay's discourse. Amusing, an adequate number of fans were contrasting Jay-Z's scores with Kanye West's scandalous second at the 2009 EMTV VMAs. You recall when Kanye grabbed the